Hi guys, it's Lynn here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Now today I'm going to be repotting my Rhipsalis alboareolata, which is this here. I'll show you the name because I'm hopeless at pronouncing them. And this beautiful Rhipsalis I've had now for a couple of years, and it's still in the same pot that I got it in. I think it's potted up in sort of orchid bark. Makes a lovely hanging basket, but now it's getting where every time I water it, it dries out too fast. So it's time to pot it on. I'm going to be putting it into another hanging basket, which is this size here, nice and wide. And I've made up the Epiphytic Cactus soil in there, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Now, I've made quite a few videos on Rhipsalis, many different types, including repotting a very large Rhipsalis cactus. So if you want to know how to repot sort of very large hanging epiphytic cacti, then I'll link up above to a video, and I'll also put the link down below in the video description on repotting very large Rhipsalis. This one is only a small one, so no problem here, but I just wanted to share it with you. Now, what I've done here, I make the epiphytic cactus mix a little bit different than a lot different than I do for my desert type of cacti, which are these ones over here. I add peat to the soil in this case, and what I've done here for the epiphytic soil is I've used 40% loam soil, LOAM. In this case I'm using John Innes number 2, and then I'm using 30% peat, just pure peat, sphagnum peat, and then I've mixed it then with 10% sharp sand and 20% grit, as you can see here. You can use perlite instead of grit as well. What you want to make sure is the soil is very well draining, but because epiphytic cacti, including Rhipsalis, do like more moisture in the soil, certainly like to be kept a little bit more humidity than the desert cacti, then I use a completely different mix. With a desert cacti I'd use much more of a well draining cactus mix. But as I say, epiphytics, they grow naturally hanging off trees in their natural habitats in sort of shady rainforests, so totally different to desert type of cacti. So therefore that's why I've made the soil mixture more moisture retentive. So this particular Rhipsalis alboareolata is absolutely gorgeous. It has gorgeous orange flowers on it in the spring. So beautiful. So here we go, guys. That's a little bit about this plant. And if you want to know how to care for epiphytic cactus plants, including the Rhipsalis, then links also up above and down below in the video description on a video on how to care and grow epiphytic cacti. And I'll explain all in there about how to care for these amazing plants. So that's it, guys, and now I'm going to show you the repotting. Now, first of all, I've obviously took the hanging basket clips off this one, and this can be quite easy to repot because it's quite soft, and unlike with desert type of cacti, I always recommend that you repot when the soil is dry. But with epiphytes like the Rhipsalis, it's quite safe to repot them when the soil is still damp. In fact, with the Rhipsalis, I don't like to let the soil stay dry for long on these. I explain a lot more in the how to care for these particular plants video, and this is going to be fairly easy to repot as well. Just going to turn it round here with my fingers like that. Obviously don't need to worry about having hand protection because there's no spines on these, and then turn it round here. And always a good opportunity to check the root system over. Now, as I say, they've used actually when I got this plant, it was actually from the Parascourt shopping centre, a plant shop, a lovely plant shop there in Dublin. And they said that one of the girls had potted it up with orchid soil, so there's a lot of orchid bark, as you can see on here, and they'd added extra perlite in with it. You can see that's the perlite there. You always want to check, because when you get white bits in the soil, it sometimes can be mealybugs and things like that, but nothing like that. This here is looks like it's a little bit of possibly mould by the look of it. Yep, definitely white powdery mould. Not a problem, don't need to worry about mould. In fact, this particular type of mould often grows on the top of houseplants when they're kept damp. As I say, they keep this damp pretty much all of the time. I water it, let it dry, and then I'll give it a good water again, but I never let it go dry for long. So that's nothing to worry about with this. And I actually have made a video on white mould on houseplants and is it harmful, with a question mark. So if you want to know about this, do check that video out, guys. Our link's also up above to that video and down below in the video description, because you sometimes get this also in the soil as well. But it's actually before asking you about is it harmful, it's actually very beneficial for the soil. So there's no need to panic, as I explained in that video. So don't need to worry about that. And often this type of mould type of fungus type of thing. Takes on a very slight whitish green coloration, as you can see there, and you'll know by smelling it. It smells very mushroom like, but as I say, I'm leaving that, no problem with that at all. And the roots are pretty good, no signs of pests, and the roots are they're not compacted. If this was very tightly compacted, I would loosen up the roots before putting it into the new soil so it can easily adjust into the new soil. But that's nice, lots of space around all the roots there, so I'm not going to touch it here. Let's say that's bits of perlite there. So that's a little bit about it here. And then I'm going to get the new pot, which is this one here. And what I'm going to be doing now is putting, obviously taking this label off. These are one of them little hanging baskets that are great value from Deals, Poundland, Dollars and all that type of shops. Dollarland. And I'm going to be putting then a bit of soil at the bottom here. And always make sure you've got drainage holes as well. There's holes in these, I just show there's holes in the plastic in there. Because if you don't have drainage holes and you water them, it's going to stay stagnant. But I've punctured some holes in the bottom of this already. So that's that. And all I have to do then with this is gently placing that here. Now you want to make sure, obviously, because this is a hanging basket, that I've done that before when I've repotted plants. And these are the ones that you can't really take off, these clips. So you want to make sure that you put this in there, and it's not going to be a problem for the clips afterwards. So just move this, turn that around to make sure that it's not going to be, when it's hanging up, you see, it's not going to be a problem. That's fine. There, and turn that aside. Make sure that's pretty central. It's all growing on the one side, but that's the way it is. I'll spread it out. I have more room now to actually grow and spread out a little bit there, so that's good. And then all I have to do now is just put the soil all around the sides. Very easy. And I love to share repotting videos and just share a few little tips along the way here. So easy peasy. Putting that up. As I say, obviously if you're repotting very spiny cacti, it's important you protect your hands. Don't need to worry about this one, it's as soft as anything. This is the Rhipsalis, and a lot of the epiphytes are the ones that don't bite, which is good. And if any other branches come off, sometimes they do when you're repotting with Epiphyllum and Rhipsalis and all the other epiphytes, then just let the piece that's come away dry for a couple of days, and then just stick it back in the soil again. They root very easy, or you can even root them in water as well. These are one of the few cacti that root very well in water. This is so happy to be repotted. And then want to just gently tuck all that soil all around, so make sure that all the soil has gone down the side, and a little bit more around here, actually lifting up the here as well. Make sure that little stem is out. That's it. Now, what I normally do with desert type of cacti, I don't water them for about a week when I repot them, because desert cacti are completely different to these types. And if I'd have had to have done any root work on this particular cactus, for example, if it was full of bugs or the roots were very compacted and I had to loosen it up, then I would keep this also dry for another week as well. But in this case, I didn't, as you can see yourselves, I didn't really have to touch the roots at all. It's just a case of placing into the new pot and putting the soil around. So I'm going to just mist this after this with a bit of rainwater, top of the soil, and then in a couple of days I'm going to give it a good water again, and then let the soil dry out slightly in between waterings. But I mention a lot more in the care video I've got on these particular plants. So very, very different to traditional cacti. And that's it. Lovely, far better now, guys. I'm sure you'll agree. So let's give it a bit of a shake. And so what I probably will do, when this gets a little bit longer, I'm going to prune this back. I've made videos on how to take cuttings of this as well. Prune it back and then stick the extra cuttings all around there so it balances itself out. But the stems aren't too long at the moment, so I'm going to leave it how it is. So happy days, that's that done. And, all done. Oops. There we go. Happy days. A nice, happy, newly potted, lovely Rhipsalis. So guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to know a little bit more on how to grow cacti and succulents, including the epiphytes as well, so do check that video out. But also do check out my website, desertplantsofavalon.com. And if you haven't done already, please do subscribe for lots more cacti and succulent plant videos. And thank you all so much for watching. I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness, and tons of funky cactus power from across the Emerald Isle. And until my next video, bye. Now I'm just going to give this a good little misting, as you can see, and then after a couple of days I'm going to give it a good watering.